Hey guys, welcome. It's your girl Basia, and it's Tuesday, so you know that means one thing. It's time for Ask Basia podcast, and today we're discussing why women put themselves last. I said it. You feel me? But I'm joined by two amazing sisters. I tend to call them queens. At the top, we have Dr. Stephanie Thompson, and we have but she's no stranger to you because she started a thing with me, and that's Dr. Ayanna Eastman. Stephanie is American. She was born here, and Dr. Stephanie Thompson is a reproductive endocrinologist and infertility specialist at the Institute for Reproductive Medicine and Science at St. Barnabas in Livingston, New Jersey. So she's joining us from New Jersey. She's an attending physician in the Department of Obstetrics, and Gynecology at St. Barnabas Medical Center, and board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility. Okay, I'm tired. You show that. Come on, Stephanie, this is too much, but I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know Dr. Eastman from before. She's also an educator and creator of the Successful Mom blog. So if you're not following her yet, what's up? And a proud single mom and entrepreneur. Dr. Eastman, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
How are you ladies doing today? Are you ready to give it to them real good?
We're good. We're ready.
We're ready. That's what's up.
I'm a Jamaican.
Oh, y'all hear that? Okay. So pardon me. We have two amazing Caribbean American women in the building. Dr. Thompson is also Jamaican and a proud one at that.
Very proud.
My favorite thing is nowhere no better than yard. Okay.
Okay.
All right. By the way, Dr. Eastman studied in Jamaica initially. She did her first degree there. So we all have a Jamaican connection. And guys, we didn't even know that before. But anyway, the clock is ticking and we have a good one for you today. And before we get into it, I just want to remind our viewers, thank our viewers for following us. And, you know, your feedback has been amazing. But I want to remind you all to subscribe to all of our platforms. We're going to talk more about our platforms later on. You know where to find your girl at Basia Blog. But guess what? Our podcast, the podcast of the woman, the ladies, is now available on iTunes, Spotify, Google+, and the video podcast is still exclusively available on BasiaPowell.com and YouTube at Basia Powell. Yep, that's what's up. Let's go. Ladies, first of all, my first question to you all today, and I want you to be truth, because you know on this platform we talk real talk, real talk, and we're not gonna mince words. Do you put yourself last? And if you do not, when did you start putting yourself first? And I will answer first by saying, I'm still a work in progress. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Eastman.
Let me say truthfully, at this point, no. Ooh. I have learned, that my time, my energy, my health is just as important as anyone else in the home. So I make me a priority, because me not being healthy means my family's not healthy. There was a time when that wasn't so. I was traveling a lot. I would try to do that whole super mom thing, preparing meals if I'm going out of the country for a week, etc. Breastfeeding. I mean, like the works. But I'm done with that. That is crazy. So right now it's about me.
Stephanie,
I love it, and I wish I could say the same.
I am so impressed with her. Like
I would like to be there too.
Okay, she needs to teach a class on that on the Basia blog and Successful Mom blog. No wonder you have a blog called Successful Mom, because you're getting this thing right. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, we all need to follow you.
What about you, Stephanie?
I had a big birthday this year, and so
what, 30?
Yeah. So I claimed that I was going to put myself first, right? As part of this transformation. It is so hard. I almost feel like I can't, and that's why I say, no, I don't put myself first, because
I do just feel like I have 3 small children. I have a career and so many responsibilities that just make it difficult for me to say, hey, do what works for you and what you want first. And, you mentioned I'm a reproductive endocrinologist and infertility specialist. So the women that I work with are having difficulty becoming pregnant and having a family. And I really take that to heart.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for me to separate my work from my personal life. And that's probably where I'm even having a harder time than with my family in terms of putting myself first, because the kids, I can get a babysitter and I have help and I have my husband. But really and truly, I find that my work-life balance has become more overwhelming as I've gotten busier in practice and with COVID and seeing more patients. So it's tough.
Well, at least I think I'm somewhere in the middle of both of you ladies. I'm not where Dr. Ayanna Eastman is. I am not exactly where Dr. Stephanie Thompson is. So one is in Trinidad, one is in Jamaica, and I'm in Tobago. How about that? No, I have to be honest with you all. We created this platform to have conversations such as these with amazingly gifted women all over the world. And, over the years, I've had the privilege and honor of traveling around the world with my husband because of his career as an athlete. And one of the things I did, even when I didn't know I was doing it, was like I was just interviewing people. I'll be on a plane for 13 hours and somebody will tell me their entire life story and all their problems. And it's usually a woman. And it dawned on me during the pandemic that I just have this collection of stories and I needed to share this with the world. And one of the things that amazed me over the years and still amazes me is how alike we are as women, how alike we are. We were all brought up by different mothers, some cases fathers, grandmothers, different cultures, different races. And we have this common thread of self-sacrifice. It was so amazing to me. So when I created this platform, I felt that, hey, I needed to bring all these women together, some of whom I know still and new ones, and show them that we are more alike than we are, than we think. Because it's like we all got this Bible as little girls that was a female Bible that said that you won't go to heaven unless you put yourself last. How about that? You feel me?
Yep.
Can I just, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Ayanna.
I was just going to say that, growing up, even in university, I always knew that if I wanted to be successful as a woman, I had to choose.
You had to do what? I'm sorry.
I had to choose. I had to make a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna. So if I'm gonna be in a career, then I have to make up my mind that may very well not include a family.
Wow.
And you
felt this way as a young girl.
Yeah. And even when I was in university, so I know I consciously made a choice.
Yeah. This is a very common narrative, though.
It is.
To be successful and to be good at being a mother or in a career that you have to choose. And I think that narrative comes from lack of support of each other, right?
Yes, take them to church, Doc. Take them to church today. Yes.
We're not really making use of the village. And I think some societies, some cultures do this better than others, honestly.
Yes, correct.
I do feel like West Indians take a little bit more advantage of the village than Americans do. Just in comparing my experiences and those of my family, in the West Indies. And just there's often a stigma to getting help.
Yes, and getting therapy.
Right, help in all sorts of therapy for yourself. Help with all the things you need to do if you are working outside of the home. We don't share, and when we don't share, we don't support, and then you feel alone, and you feel like you're the only person going through these things. And everyone, to your point, this is the female Bible.
It's a common thread. It's the Bible we were all given in Arabic, in Hindi, in Christianity, and you name it.
Yeah. But then you feel alone. It's like you've read your Bible by yourself.
Right.
Well, my thing is, right? And I'll go to Dr. Eastman here, because we both grew up in the Caribbean, in a country called, well, all of us grew up in the Caribbean, but we specifically in a country called Trinidad and Tobago. So I would like to ask you, and then Stephanie can add to if this sounds familiar to her, that I remember growing up, this might be funny, but I remember growing up in Trinidad, and I would observe many, if not all women, older ones, do this. They'll be sharing food for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger piece of meat would be put aside for the man in the house or the eldest son in the house. Stephanie's laughing already. You feel me? I just want to know. And it would be an insult to give the man in the house this substandard piece of meat. And I internalized that more than I recognize, because listen, never made the devil a liar right here today. I'm telling you all, right, that me, sensible, educated, whatever you want to call yourself as a modern woman, still find myself, even if I'm not dishing out my husband's food, because he will tell you, I love to cook, but I don't like to dish out food. So on the rare occasion, if I'm dishing out his food, I'm thinking about the size of the meat to give this man. Also, even if I'm not dishing out his food, Stephanie, I'm thinking, should I leave the bigger piece for him, or should I take the bigger piece? I am not lying to you all. I'm coming clean. This is a platform where we are going to be healed and we're going to talk the truth. But I am still being held bondage to some of these traditional ideas instilled by reading that invisible Bible. And I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know has that been your experience? I mean, like, do you feel our mothers and grandmothers perpetuated this miseducation of what it means to be a fine young woman? Because if I don't give the man a bigger piece of meat, it's all over. In my head.
Yes. So, there are multiple ways to address that. I'm starting with the short one. So I was raised the same way. Honestly, I mean, my father was here a couple of years ago. I had to take out his food or dish out his food, however you want to think about it. And I was quite happy to do so and give him, a decent sized plate. I think, Black men deserve to be respected.
Correct.
If we disrespect them, then we are training our children to also disrespect the men in our lives. And they already have a struggle.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, that's a whole different discussion for us.
Yeah,
but,
that's another episode, Doc.
Oh yes.
It's coming.
And it'll be awesome, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I am okay with giving them the bigger piece of meat.
You are okay.
Yes, but on the other hand, we do have this narrative of the woman serving the man, the subservient position, that has been given to women. If we think about it, and I'm going to go a little biblical here, if we think about when Jesus is here, he liberated women, but still that's not how we have been raised. We have not been trained to be liberated women. And the way that feminist and the feminist movement is defined nowadays is a whole different definition. I was reading an article up to today, and it's different. Again, that's a whole different discourse.
Yeah, next episode. Yeah.
Yes. but I think that view of how we speak about men is multifaceted. So I'll just stop there right now, and I'll leave the rest for
right.
Dr. Stephanie.
But I want to ask Dr. Stephanie Thompson, can you associate with what we said, our observation of the piece of meat in the plate? Okay.
I grew up in a very traditional West Indian house. Both my parents are Jamaican. I spent all my summers in Jamaica. I'm there a few times a year. I just have to be born here, and my dual citizenship is not done yet. But so I completely identify with that. And to this day, my father was here this weekend, and it's the same thing. And like you, I'm okay with that because of the historical perspective.
So you still give your husband a bigger piece of meat?
Well, I'm always on a diet. I mean, that's really the main reason.
Okay.
Okay. I don't like to share food, but that's another story.
That's another next episode.
Yeah. But a bigger piece of meat is really because I'm on a diet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would give him equal.
Right.
But I don't have a problem fixing a plate for him or serving him because of the historical perspective of that, which really went back to slavery.
Yeah.
The fact that there was very little you could do to show your respect, as Dr. Ayanna said, to your Black man.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's important, but it also has to be reciprocal.
I too.
My husband would never grab me a glass of water. I probably would not want to put together a plate for him at the end of the day, right?
Correct.
So, to have that mutual respect means that he's also pulling his weight and respecting me in various ways, whether that be traditional or non-traditional. So, I do think it's a two-way street. But that one particular example, I do think the historical perspective on it, probably makes it a little bit better. But the general concept is that we should be doing things for each other.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, on the topic of equality and how do we take it back a little bit? How do we manage to change the stigma and without disrespecting our husbands? Because we are suffering from some of the stigmas and the learned behavior from this invisible Bible that we read as women. How do we change that without us not changing the fact that we need to honor our kings, assuming that our husbands are Black in some cases, because we have a lot of beautiful multiracial homes as well. Not everybody's in our community is married to a Black man, but a man in general who respects you deserve to get respect in return. How do we, using our gender, bringing it back to gender equality? Some of us already not getting equal pay to the man doing the same job, etc. How do we navigate the stigma? Do we start a FML now? Female lives matter.
I think we have to communicate. And I think that we may have to ask, and as horrible as that is, but a lot of men were not raised to do their own laundry, to learn how to do dishes, to cook, to do that. And if we feel we're in a mutual relationship, we should feel empowered to sit down and speak with our partner and tell them what we need. I need you to take out the trash, and this could be your duty, whether it be male or female duties traditionally or not. If you have a husband who likes to cook, hey, I need you to cook 3 days instead of 2. So,
and to be honest, that's the kind of dialogue taking place in our house. I feel that if I may say that, I think like how Dr. Ayanna said that she's more successful at putting herself first. She's succeeding in doing that, and I'm still getting there. I have succeeded in retraining my husband because he came from and he will tell you that he came from a very traditional home, and I don't want to get into that, but our ways are a little different. We're a little more modernized, and I think of myself as an effective communicator. Like, a lot of women in the retraining process, they will snap and da da da. I don't snap. It's a discussion. I believe in performance appraisals. So we have those kinds of discussion. It's a performance appraisal, right? You get a reward.
Right. Being an effective communicator is key.
But I'll tell you one more thing before I bring Dr. Eastman in. And this is with regards to how do we change the stigma. I'm also doing that through our sons. I recall an occasion maybe 2 years ago, not even so long, that my son brought me a present. It may have been a Christmas present or a Mother's Day present or something. And you should see how this young man wrapped this present. You should nobody look at my face that it was not nice. And that was a teachable moment for me as a mother. And I looked at the present and I gave it back to him. I don't know what was inside of it. It was not about the value. Because first of all, you don't work anywhere. You didn't buy it. Your father gave you money to buy it. Your sacrifice was to do that to the best of your ability and to package that present in a way that said to your mom that she was worthy of receiving this. And that wasn't done. And I had two options. I could pretend that, oh, my son did something so wonderful, or I could set him straight so that he would never do that to another woman in his life.
Oh.
And that's the way I choose to teach my young men in my house, so that I don't produce those kinds of men who don't understand that this is equality and a woman has to be treated as a particular way. So that when he gets his wife, she can tell me, thank you very much. And I will tell her, you're welcome. What do you think about that, Dr. Ayanna?
Yes, you mean that she'll tell you that.
Whatever. Would you have given him back the present, though, if it were your kid doing that?
No.
I figured. Yeah, I give him back.
It is the thought that counts for me. I'm not saying
it was not about the value of the present. I didn't know what was inside of it, so it wasn't about that.
I know, but everyone's different. I wouldn't. I am not, as you would know, I'm not into aesthetics as much. It's really, to me, about the quality. As you were talking about the whole aspect of the partners and retraining partners and communication. For me, I'm a single mom, right? So I may not have a partner per se. So for me, the training starts with my child.
Correct.
Right. So how do I train her? How do I train her to, one, value herself? And then how do I train her to understand the role of males in her life? Right. So based on the males who she has in her life, how my responsibility, I feel, is to train her to understand, what's the importance of a male, of a father figure. I pray for her. I've already told her I've started praying for her for a spouse from God. I'm laying that out there. I am taking my training of her very seriously. So whoever comes into her life, it must be someone who she must be able to look at and say, you're worthy or you're not. It doesn't mean that the person is less than her or less valuable than her, but she's looking for certain qualities. So that's where when I think about communication and think about relationships and how do we communicate what we want as women within relationships, I think of it, at least at this moment, from the perspective of my child and children.
So my rebuttal is that I'm preparing my son to teach your daughter properly. Yes, Dr. Thompson.
I don't know that I would have done that right now, but now I will. My kids are little, but now I know. So I excuse some things if the present's messy, but I will teach.
No, this is not an 8-year-old. This is a teenager. This is not an 8-year-old.
It's a teenager. Oh, okay.
I would not do that to an 8-year-old or 10-year-old.
Right.
But you're a young man.
For sure.
No, a teenager can do it. A teenager, I mean, like,
get the hell out of here with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Life skills, right? Life based. Everybody should know basic things.
That's right. And it's my job as a mother to teach him, because he wouldn't. I don't want him to go and take a young lady out and give her that. That's not the son I raised. No way. I'll do it again. He never did it after.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Anyway, I want to shout out all the fabulous men, fathers, husbands, sons, everybody, who really appreciate us as women and who believe in female equality. I mean, President Barack Obama is one of them. He's been such an advocate for, equality of the genders and so on, and the races, of course. But I just want to shout them out, because I don't want to sound as though there are men out there who, they don't care about us. They're doing their thing. And no, there are a lot of men who are playing their role in making sure that women are respected and so on and so forth. Yeah. I also wanted to touch on, as we are on the topic of equality, this is a tricky one. We all want equality. Agreed?
Yes.
Right. But some of us, if presented with a brother of any race who loves us and he's willing to take care of us, and, for me, we have this stereotype that equality, and I should probably ask how you're going to define it. I know how I define it, but I'm interested to hear how you guys would define it. But if you had the option, past life, before now, to date a man who, as soon as you meet him, he tells you he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, how would you feel about that?
Okay, so let me just say I still have that option. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's start with you, Dr. Eastman. Would you, Dr. Ayanna, would you consider rather a stay-at-home dad, a man who said, listen, you go out and work, I'm going to take care of you. I have you done when you come home, your food is ready, the house is clean. I'm going to take our kid to lessons that are, would you be able to be in a situation? Do you see that as equality? Is that something that would appeal to you? Because I have friends who want to be in situationships and relationships and entanglements, but they're not willing to do that. They turn their nose up at a sister who has a guy without an official job title.
Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I think what's going to be most important is that we feel that this is a partnership, that we are in this together. I think what's going to really matter to me is that I enjoy my job, right? Because if I hate my job, that's going to be horrible. I'm going to hate him every time I step through that door. I know, especially as women, I know we feel everything. We feel for our kids, we feel for our clients, we feel for our students. I mean, so I think me loving my job is going to help.
Yeah.
And him loving me enough and being comfortable in his skin.
Yeah.
Because right now, I have a couple male friends, and even when I got my PhD, they're like, I'm not going to call you doctor.
Why?
And I'm like, okay, but I didn't even bother to say why. I'm like,
that's disrespectful, though. I find that to be disrespectful.
So
again,
that's
that's a gender.
Right. So that's the thing, so he has to be pretty comfortable in his skin, and if he's okay with it.
To be a stay-at-home man for a doctor. Oh, yeah.
I know, and still treat me well on top of it. Because he could be at home and upset, right?
Well, that usually happens a lot in those scenarios, but how about you, Dr. Stephanie Thompson?
So I mean, that's a good point, that he could be at home and be upset. It depends on the situation. I think that if he's going to be an amazing stay-at-home dad, then that's wonderful. If he's going to be a terrible one, then no. I mean, seriously, he has to do all of the things that it takes to be a good home caregiver, homemaker, and whether you're a man or woman or not, just be the best at what you decide to do, and that's important to me. To the next level, whatever you decide to do, and it's hard work being at home, being a man.
And it's hard work being at home.
Very, very hard work. It's a different kind of work than being outside the home, but it is hard work. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those little memes that go around that if you quantify, the salary and the time and the hours that go into being a stay-at-home mother, it's a six-figure job.
It is a six-figure. And I think that's been made very clear after this pandemic, correct?
Absolutely. So I would be fine with it.
Yeah.
With the right man, because again, Diana's point, some people are resentful. Is he staying at home because he never found his own way, and there's that he hasn't filled, or is this truly what he enjoys, and how does he react to people around him in terms of the stigma?
So from my own perspective, right? So I hear your points. I mean, you both said that you don't have a problem with it. I don't see it in theory as a problem, because if a woman chooses, we want equality, and if a woman chooses to stay at home and she wants to be respected, a man should also be respected. Our society has not yet evolved to that, in my experience. And also in my experience, I have seen this happen at least 10 times, people I know, and I haven't seen it work. I haven't seen it work. I can't say why, but all I know is that I feel equality here at the Powell's residence is both of us having a job, an income stream, or a business, so that we both are contributing. That's equal. And that we're both doing the chores, that's equal. And today I'll cook on Tuesday and you'll cook on Saturday. That's equal. And if something were to go wrong with either of us, while there's a loss of income and so on, we'll back up each other because that's equal. But that may not be for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But your point is a valid one in that we all should have streams of income.
We must all have streams. Write a book. Do something.
Streams of income. Okay.
Yeah. Because you see, my thing is women could. I'm sorry, but women can work and still cook and still clean the house and so a man could do that too.
So I know at least two couples who have made it work. They're still together.
Nice.
One couple, the wife is a doctor, and the father is a stay-at-home dad. He does everything around the house, does the drop-offs, pickups. The oldest child is probably by about 15 years by now.
And so they live in the US, right? They live in
yeah, right.
Yeah, I like how you say that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not actually Caribbean culture.
And then my own brother, he went through a period like that as well, where he was a stay-at-home
Your
dad.
own qualified brother.
Yes, he was a doctorate in physical therapy. He was
on sabbatical.
But, he was home and he said, that was the time that he would take the baby out hiking in the day and he needed a break. Library. And, all these mothers were
that is not fair. That is not a good example.
He intends to go back?
Yeah, I mean, he was back. It's just that at that time.
That's a sabbatical, a qualified man.
But he was at home. He was at home, like cleaning, cooking, everything, to the point where, his wife, my sister-in-law, started to get jealous after a while. The baby would run to him instead of to her. But they're still married. It's like maybe going on 12 years now. So they've gotten over it.
Yeah.
But he was home for like over a year.
I get your point. I want to remind our viewers and our followers and our listeners to follow us on our respective social platforms. And we're going to have everybody, all our commentators from today would be in our article on Basia blog, but you can follow your girl at basiapowell.com, and I'm at Basia Powell on IG, Twitter, Facebook, everything. What about you, Dr. Ayanna Eastman? What's your, you want to tell them where they can follow you?
Oh, so you can follow me on successfulmom.home.blog.
She has an amazing blog.
Yes. And really just encouraging moms, because, I say moms, we don't ever describe ourselves as successful. We describe everybody else as successful. So, we are, you are. So just encouraging you.
Yes.
You are an awesome mom.
And that qualification as a mom, executing that every day really, really is the greatest qualification a girl can have. How about you, Dr. Stephanie Thompson? Where can they catch up with you? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Dr._SM Thompson. And if you're in the tri-state area or, even abroad and need infertility treatment or have some questions.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we're at www.irms.com.
And she is amazing. I know that from personal references that Dr. Thompson is an amazing infertility specialist. I mean, we both have two amazing women here today on this platform, Dr. Ayanna Eastman, Dr. Thompson, a testament to, the multiple roles we can carry out as women, wives, single moms, daughters, sisters, mommies, and we have to do it all. My last question before I wrap up is that, do you think that some of the things that we experience as women in terms of putting ourselves last comes from a feeling of guilt, self-hate, cultural expectation, or an amalgamation of everything? I mean, outside of the invisible Bible that tells us, hey, you need to put yourself last, because a lot of us do it with resentment. I know when I go through those periods, I do it with some resentment, and I've had to let go of that. But if I'm being honest, sometimes when I check myself, I feel as though, hey son, I have to remind myself that, hey, you need to love yourself some more. You need to give yourself some slack. It's okay, as Dr. Ayanna said, to call yourself successful mom. It's okay to call yourself successful woman. It's okay. Do you think some of it is attached to some guilt, some self-hate, that kind of thing? I want to know that before we wrap up today. You, Ayanna.
Oh, okay. So I'll start first. So, I was reading this article that talks about the superwoman schema, right? It's an article written by a writer, Woods Griscombe, I think. I'm sure I'm not saying the name correctly. And I know in the article, the researcher spoke to like about 48 Black African American women and asked them to describe, their everyday experiences and what they do. And, and essentially what they found is that they were, as Black women, Black American women in particular, they experience all these adverse health effects from trying to do too much. The bottom line.
I know that happened to me 11 years ago.
Right, because you felt as if everyone's depending on you. You have to change your narrative. You have to change your history. Your partner is also depending on you. So you tend not to make yourself as vulnerable because you feel as if, you have to shoulder all this pain, all everyone's responsibilities. So at the end of the day, you end up putting yourself last, eating too late at night, simple as that is, and ending up eating too much more than you're supposed to eat, right? Not getting exercise in, so many different things. So the women in the article talked about their experiences and how they felt. And they just felt as if they had to do all these things that it was expected of them. And
I'm one of those women.
Yes, I know. And you're a living testament, So there are a multitude of factors that propel Black women in particular to push ourselves above and beyond, with no acknowledgement that we are succeeding or that we are doing well or that we have to stop and take care of ourselves.
Wow. What about you, Dr. Thompson? How you feel?
I don't know that I could say it any better than that. A wonderful synopsis.
Yeah.
I think we, as Black women, we go through microaggressions in our daily life from the external world that also contribute to that. But besides that, it is the societal pressure and norm that Black women are the backbone of our families. And we don't want to let anyone down, at least for me. And then we also are getting into the sandwich generation, right? Where we have our aging parents we're taking care of, we have children, we have our spouse, plus an external career. So all of that, really puts a lot of pressure on us. And I don't think we really know what self-care means at the end of the day. Like, it's not going to the spa for an hour. And sometimes our partners think that's what it is. Okay. And that's nice, but that's not really what it is. It's the point of really making time to go on that walk or work out in the morning, again, well, and having some alone time and that being okay, and developing hobbies and interests outside of the home that can be your escape too.
Yep. And I wanted to interject and say, no, it's about going to the spa consistently.
Right. Every other day.
Because sometimes you start, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do that. Before we wrap up, I wanted to just give a special shout out to our Asian brothers and sisters. I'm here in the AE, I'm in Atlanta, and you've seen what has happened this past week, and it seems to be something that is happening throughout the United States. And we created this platform to express love and to inspire women and women of all cultures, women of all races. And we just want to ask all women to stand up against hate, stand up against bigotry, just take a stand for your gender. I can't begin to tell you that it takes nothing to compliment another woman. If you see a woman struggling, whether she's Asian, Black, white, or whatever, help her up. If you see a woman flourishing, be happy for her, because your blessing is on the way. God has limitless blessing. He may bless her first to see what your attitude would be towards her blessing, because more might be coming for you. Blessing delayed is never blessing denied. So I'm just saying, be careful what you say about another woman, because depending on what you see, it takes one to know one.
Mm.
It's your girl, Basia. I'm going to leave you on that note. And if you're a woman who's struggling with putting yourself first and prioritizing yourself, like yours truly, I hope you learned something here today. I'm going to book a personal session with Dr. Ayanna Eastman because she needs to teach me some more. And I am going to take less meat and let the king get more meat because I'm going on a diet anyway to get my hot body on for the summer, hot girl body on. But it was so nice. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following. Don't forget to follow us. We're going to come back bigger and better. We have more amazing women, and you're going to see these women back again. All right? You feel me? Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me. I love you, queens. This was amazing. I'm out. Cheers, guys.